One thing that is clear in recent years is the fact that people don't want the same thing over and over anymore. Well, isekai is still one of the most produced genres in anime, and light novels have no signs of slowing down, but at this point, it's just another drop into the ocean. Japan has held the sole absolute dominance on what we know as anime, and not only because the term is Japanese, but because of the unique cultural, historical, and artistic aspects that makes the show special. No other country comes close to producing something as extravagant and emotionally deep as China. To Be Hero X is a Chinese-Japanese original series and the third season of the To Be Hero franchise. God knows what was going on in the first two seasons, but anyways. The show is co-produced between B-Dream, Bilibili, and Aniplex, three massive big hitters with the budget to match. In this world, heroes are created by people's trust. The more trust people have for you, the stronger you become. This means that any normal person can become a hero if enough people put their trust into them. This trust is measured and collected as data and displayed as a number on their wrist to always be ready to flex that shit like rappers with their iced out APs. If a hero gets cancelled on Twitter for a controversial take about solo leveling, their trust value will go down as well as their overall power. This means that they have to keep a good image so their trust and strength don't disappear. Every hero gets ranked on a scoreboard where the undisputed number 1 will get the title of Hero X. Because X marks the spot, you get me? Yo, I'm 20 years old. The story itself is not extremely deep or fundamentally different from any other show about heroes. Tackling ethical problems like who is actually a hero, is it the person or the costume, or becoming a hero without really wanting to. Exploring what it means to be a protector and someone people put their absolute trust in while still keeping their own individuality and personal identity. In the first episode, we are introduced to Lin Ling, a name that would definitely be racially motivated if the show wasn't Chinese. Ling is an overworked marketing employee who got fired for being cringe, and while taking out his anger on the hero Nice perfect relationship, that same dude shows up right behind him and just starts aura farming in slow motion before hitting an emote and... You know, rest in peace and all that, but homeboy felt like a Roblox ragdoll, dude. Anyways, Nice manager shows up with a bunch of goons in suits, and before even checking on the dude that literally just took his own life, they kidnap my poor overworked homeboy instead for no apparent reason. He wakes up later and tries to escape, but gets hit with an absolute laser by Miss Manager. Put her on the pitch, the Dodgers just lost Gura. And just like that, they decide to cover up Nice's death by making a new one. Because that's what you do when all celebrities die, am I right, guys? No? Not even AI them into movies? No? Okay. Even with all this, the story is still not the main point of what makes the show absolutely phenomenal, preeminent, pulchritudinous, and overall very swag. If you haven't opened your eyes yet because my voice is just that attractive and you want to maladaptive daydream a little more, it's time to do so because the visual choice of 3D animation is what makes this show stand out. 3D and CGI in anime often revokes the worst, deepest, darkest memories for anime fans. Masterclasses in storytelling and cinematography like X-Arm or 2016's Berserk did not leave the best impression on what 3D animation can really look like. The Spider-Verse movies and Arcane are prime examples of how beautiful 3D animation can be, and don't forget about the absolute cinematic masterpiece that was the Penguins of Madagascar.
Don't you think we should tell them that the boat's out of gas? Nah, just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
To be Hero X brings very much the Spider-Verse feel into it, and while some of the facial expressions and emotions don't really pop as much as they might should do, especially with the combination of the voice acting, the fight scenes and cinematography is so fluid and smooth that it's hard to look away. The way the environment is affected by whatever is going on and how large scale some of the abilities feel just adds real weight to the story. Fights escalate in intensity the longer they go on, which also makes sense canonically because a hero's trust value would increase the most during an intense battle when people need them to win the absolute most. But how do you increase intensity in a 3D space? That is one of the parts of CGI that has always fallen short compared to its 2D counterpart. Extreme intense battles or fight scenes can use the art of 2D to bend proportions and stretch elements outside their logical reach to create a feeling of force, something that is much harder to do with a set 3D model. Emotion can be more easily portrayed in 2D, expressing the difference between two characters through frame-by-frame animation. Animating small movements or other tendencies they have and then bring those into fight scenes to really represent and separate characters. In the use of 3D models, a lot of characters tend to move similarly and not stick out from each other as much as they should. Movement and depth feels many times the same, even between characters who should be vastly different from each other, and the only thing separating them is voice acting. If we go back to the example of Across the Spider-Verse, arguably the most intense scene in that whole movie was the altercation between Miguel and Miles, and even with the absolute max usage of effects, the fight never got to a jumping out my chair level of emotional or physical intensity. Meanwhile, a show like Demon Slayer, with a very mediocre story, still manages to keep you on the edge of your seat during big battles, even if you know logically what is about to happen. The emotion 2D animation brings can never be swapped out for 3D. So why not mix both mediums? What made this show initially stand out was the main character Hero X, Top Dog, just aura farm for 1 minute straight in the initial trailer, where he changed the animation style between 2D and 3D whenever he snapped his fingers. And not only that, he literally used the lower frame rate in 2D animation to manipulate and beat all these goobers, all in a fully white suit. Of course, trailers are often very different from the final result we get, but when China is locked in, that is not the case. Every episode so far has utilized the change between 2D and 3D to bring out whatever missing intensity and emotion that 3D might not be able to fully translate. Every major battle or important piece of information is done in this comic book-esque style, which only adds to the charm. It brings that last piece of jumping out my chair energy in a perfect mix of both mediums. The first time I saw it actually fully utilized, a tear ran down my cheek as well as my leg because I was just stun-locked how finally a major production did not only live up to the hype but blew it away with epic proportions. Music and voice acting is what you would expect from an Aniplex production, and while the story frequently shifts in character focus, each new introduction serves a purpose, either deepening the existing narrative or laying groundwork for future plot. By prioritizing world building over just creating a backdrop for the characters, it feels like a fully realized immersive world where it's totally normal for people to fly around and wear goofy outfits. Like, what the fuck is that? China has already shown what they were capable of when releasing Link Click back in 2021, and now they are fully rethinking the whole concept of what 3D animation can look like. How different mediums of animation can work together rather than stand as two separate styles. It's still early in its release, and I hope I won't have to make another apology video like with Ninja Kamui, but if the show continues to improve as it currently is, I can easily see this lay the groundwork for a lot more successful 3D anime in the future. And that is definitely what we need when these are the adaptations we get nowadays. If I had one thing to say to every human on Earth, it would be to go and watch To Be Hero X. I will never stop glazing. Go follow the Twitter and join the Discord. See ya!